baby, we've returned.
Today we're discussing, let's try that again. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, okay, action.
I guess we'll start.
It's a good thing we're professionals here.
For God's sake. Okay.
What are you laughing at?
Wow.
That's what I did.
Hi everybody and welcome to episode 14 of Nights at the Round Table. Today we are discussing the 1989 movie The Abyss, the special edition one though, not the theatrical release. I actually haven't seen the theatrical release ever. This movie is, the premise is that basically after the sinking of an American nuclear submarine, workers of a nearby oil rig are joined by a team of US Navy SEALs and asked to investigate. And what they find is that they are not alone. And I want to start with overall impressions of the film, so we'll start with Tom because he's new.
Hi. Overall, I think this is a great movie, even though it's wildly long. For someone who has seen the theatrical version, the director's cut is a fantastic example of the differences studios make. The director had his say, and the movie is improved substantially by the director's cut.
I've never seen the theatrical, or if I did, it was like many years ago.
I was 6.
But I did like the director's cut.
You're making me feel old.
Sorry, keep going.
She's young. Yeah. I didn't actually find that the movie felt all that long. I mean,
no,
yes,
you don't feel
it was, but it was smooth enough that I didn't have a lot of the snoozing problems that I had with Alien.
To which you are wildly wrong.
Stick to the movie.
One thing I noticed right off the bat, in the opening scene, what my head was screaming was the hunt for Red October. And so I started contrasting that with The Abyss in my head for the first 10 minutes. And that is a movie that is freaking long and feels long. So The Abyss looks like a really well done version compared to that.
I also really liked this film. I've liked this film since I first saw it. I can't remember. I was probably
6.
No, that's when it was released. I was in Australia, so probably early teens or preteens. And I've loved this movie ever since then. I've wanted to own a copy since I can remember. Which reminds me I should probably try and find it. It's a really good film. It's a wonderful sci-fi film that takes place on Earth. Although I have a couple of nitpicky things about the ending, but I had a lot of fun. And yes, it is a long film. It went 170 minutes and change, but it didn't feel like it. There was no footage that felt like it could have been cut, and it would have improved the movie at all. I don't think. I did like it very much.
The theatrical edition does not, spoilers, feature the giant wave.
Oh, doesn't it?
No, not to my recollection. I'm pretty sure that's not in the original. Now that might have been because of special effects, timing, or I mean, it's a long movie, and I think they were worried that people wouldn't go see long movies.
Yeah.
I'm of the camp that longer the movie, the better.
Well, it depends on the movie.
It does, yes. But typically, I enjoy a long movie.
I don't know. I should have maybe watched the theatrical release if I could have gotten my hands on it.
No.
Just to compare.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah. I was impressed with the graphics, actually, considering that
this film holds up remarkably well.
It really, really does. I mean, there are a few moments when you're like, ha, that's so 80s. But then... and a couple of green screen moments that weren't perfect, but it's still, all of it held up. Particularly, I was really impressed when Lindsay was holding her hand out to the machine for the first time, and it touched and you saw the lights and stuff. That was really good. I was super impressed.
For 1989.
For 1989. It's really good.
They handled the look of that creature really, really well.
Yeah.
when she touched it, it made the ripples, and it looked almost as good as it would be today.
Yeah.
And
I actually think it looks better than it would today, because today it would be CGI, and it doesn't have that tangible object feeling that a lot of CGI effects have. This, even
Mind you, the water tunnel.
Yes. Although I believe that was sculpted.
Oh, really?
I believe it was sculpted in clay and then animated stop motion and then converted into 3D. I believe. I'm not positive about that.
That explains how they got...
Because it looks amazing.
Ridiculously good.
Yeah.
I read in the trivia, thank you IMDb, in the trivia for the movie that they had written the scene so that it could be cut out of the film.
Yep.
Because they really weren't sure how the graphics would have turned out, and then it just surpassed their wildest imagination.
I don't want to hear about clay modeling. I prefer to think of it as, they hired Moses and he just... Yeah. We're having a big chat before comparative religion, so I had to throw that out just to...
And I can't talk about Alien, but he can bring in earlier conversations.
I can do whatever I want, because I'm crazy. Okay, back to the movie.
Back to the movie. He is crazy.
Music.
Oh, yeah.
I really like the way that they used music, especially in the early part of the film, to show how tight the team was. They were all singing songs together and stuff, and that was very important for when the SEALs came in, because by that point you already knew that the actual main characters were a tight-knit team. The
score was really good. It wasn't the ridiculous 80s synth that has me cracking up every single time I watch an 80s movie and they have that terrible electronic music. It was Alan Silvestri was the composer for this. First and only time that he composed music for James Cameron.
I wonder why.
Well, I heard this was a nightmare shoot, again on the trivia thing, that Ed Harris, who plays pretty much the lead guy, almost drowned. They were cold. They were wet. They were miserable. He almost
This was a wildly dangerous movie to make.
Yeah, and he had almost had a nervous breakdown on the side of the road. I read that he had to pull over and just because he was almost full on flipping out.
All the actors had to learn to scuba dive. They had to learn water safety routines. They had this. This was a very challenging movie to make.
Yeah,
I mean, 40% of it is shot underwater.
Yeah. And that scene where he's dragging at Lindsay underwater. She was underwater. She had to hold her breath for that. Mm-hmm. It wasn't saying there were no stunt people.
Commitment. That's commitment on the part of everyone involved.
Yeah. They were calling this movie all sorts of horrible names, all sorts of plays on the word abyss. That was their way of coping. Apparently, was they would just use the title The Abyss in different horrible...
Although there's some absolutely remarkable performances in this movie.
Yes.
Ed Harris, when... gosh, I can't remember her name. The lead actress?
Yeah, I think it begins...
The character was Lindsay.
The character was Lindsay.
When she drowns and she's... Spoilers. When she's on the ground and they're trying to resuscitate her. His performance there is amazing.
I might have cried a little bit.
It's astonishing how good in the moment he was.
Yeah.
Because I was in that, I could feel his panic to bring her back, his wanting to save her. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I agree. Keep going.
Another brilliant performance is when Michael Biehn goes crazy. Spoiler. When the effects of the tremors really take over on him, he becomes very he's unsettling to watch, which is the point, and he's a brilliant actor for being able to do that. Because I'm uncomfortable watching him be crazy, because it's not a natural. He's not naturally crazy. He's crazy because he's being affected physiologically, which is a different kind of crazy, apparently.
Yeah, yes, I agree. Brilliant both times. But one of the things I may have possibly snickered before the scene where they're resuscitating Lindsay is when she actually does drown. She breathes in the water and she goes slack and he screams. No, I'm like, sorry. It's not because I'm sadistic. It's because it was a cliched no! And also, dude, you knew it was gonna happen. That was the
It
plan.
doesn't make it any easier when it happens.
Well, no.
Yeah, so with a lot of emergency rescue experience and lifeguarding experience, there's a lot of things about the hypothermia in this movie, or the lack thereof, which I wasn't too much of a fan of. When Bud and his buddy, strip down to their skivvies and go diving into the water that's like, freezing cold because it's like 2,000 feet, below. They should have, even if they were only in the water for a minute, they should have come out with the shakes and showing some severe signs, but they were fine. And all of the time that these people were jumping in and out of water, they would have got in a bad condition really, really fast. And the movie only addressed that right at the end when Lindsay was like, "Oh my God, I'm freezing," So I wasn't a big fan of that.
Hold that thought for 1 second. I just noticed that this camera was pointing at you too.
But of course.
Because you're in frame. And I'm not in frame, of which I think I am now.
The thing that got me about that too is when they exited the rig, and I'm like, aren't you guys like 1,000 feet below the surface? Should you not be like in an awful lot of pain right now?
They address that in the film, don't they?
Well, no, it's when they go to the 2,000 foot mark when they're headed towards when they're trying to catch Little Geek or Big Geek.
Right. Okay. Yes.
But when they're up at the edge of the Cayman Trough, it's still a long way beneath the ocean. I mean, when you exit it to swim to the next hatch to try and get up, and then again to swim to the moon pool to try and get up, should you not be in an awful lot of pain, like possibly crushed?
No.
Because they're more than a few hundred feet below the ocean.
They're pressurized down there. When they're underwater at that depth, you're breathing pressurized oxygen.
Okay, so they're
the depth differences there probably aren't substantial enough, and the equipment they're in is engineered to take that pressure.
Yeah, but when they leave,
if they were in the water for a long time, which they weren't, we don't know how long it takes to swim from those two locations. It could be 30 seconds, it could be 10 seconds, it could be 6 minutes. We don't know. It's not a very big structure, so I don't think it would take them that long to swim. I mean, how long does it take you to swim?
It's been a long time since I've been swimming.
Well, me too, but it doesn't take that long to swim.
How long does it take you to drown?
Seconds. If you do it right. If you apply yourself.
Yeah, there were a couple of
No, the hypothermia thing did bother me as well, but it's like, it's a movie. You can't have people, I mean, the guy that's remained behind when they couldn't get through the first hatch, he should have died of hypothermia or succumbed to it within minutes, because he was submerged into water up to here. So 4-degree water.
So now that I've addressed my primary complaint, which was the hypothermia, I want to get to the thing that I liked best. And that was when the storm was just starting up on top, and the crane broke.
Ah, that was great.
So when the crane's coming down, first of all, the acting was really, really good. Second of all, it was a really great point of suspense. And you find yourself on the edge of your seat being like, oh my God, I hope the crane doesn't crush them, hope the crane doesn't crush them, smashes down beside them, and then you and the characters are like, and then the crane falls into the pit and starts dragging them in. I thought that was a great scene.
Poor crane operator. Do we ever find out what happened to him? From what I saw, he went into the water and then never came back.
I think his shirt was red. I recall.
He probably drowned.
Star Trek reference.
Yeah, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Star Trek.
Now we've ruined all the Star Trek movies for you. We're sorry.
That's right, Cupcake.
I liked the quote that they started from, I'm going to mispronounce his name, Nietzsche?
Friedrich Nietzsche.
Yay!
We'll
I got it right!
We'll accept that.
When you look long into the abyss looks into you. I thought, oh, that was really neat. I understood that they removed that from the theatrical release because another movie released either before or around the same time used the exact same quote at the beginning of their film, and they didn't want to seem like copycats, so they cut it out.
I did not know.
IMDb.
If we're gonna be doing best
research, it's research.
Best quote in the movie, I have to give it. I mean, it's a little bit of a lowball humor, but I give this a sphincter factor of 9.5. That was my favorite quote of the movie.
Oh, really? Mine was way more. Mine was Lindsay's. You have to look with better eyes than that. I was like, oh, that's actually quite poignant.
That's fair. Yeah.
I didn't watch the movie looking for a good quote.
Well, neither did I. I wrote it down.
If I'm going to be on a panel, I'll find a quote that I like.
I watched
just
it
so
on Thursday night as an emergency. As
yeah,
an emergency.
Tom is actually our cameraman and is not usually in front of the camera.
Don't
We're
belong
very
here.
glad you're here. He's here under duress.
That's right. She's paying for all the beer I've been drinking.
Sorry, Dine and Dash.
Just like, get back behind the camera right now. I'm also supposed to be behind the camera, but I'm an attention whore, so.
The ending really bugged me.
Bugged a lot of people.
Well,
It's a little pat.
It was one of those, super cheesy, happily ever after endings.
How would you have ended it then?
I would have had the aliens
The annihilation of the human race. Yes.
Kind of. Although, I would have had the aliens leave the planet, at least. At the very least, I would have had the aliens leave the planet, because I know that immediately after the US Navy is not out of a job, as they say in the script, they are going to go down for those aliens, and it's going to be another war.
But there's no way for them to do that. The aliens control the water completely. They can do anything with the water. If you can rise waves hundreds of meters high and hold them in place, you can take a submarine and go no problem.
Yes, but I still reckon there would have been some stupid human attempt.
I would have cut it off at Lindsay's resurrection and then pushed for a sequel. That's what I would have done. You don't need to explain the whole alien thing
you could
right
have
away.
cut before the resurrection. You could cut at during the CPR.
It's a bit far.
That's an excellent though. No, what happens next? It's totally a Game of Thrones moment.
Exactly.
Bastard Cameron, what happens now? Yeah.
But no, this is another good example of a movie that was made that didn't need a sequel.
Yes, and thank God they didn't
at 170 minutes, what are we, Lord of the Rings here? seriously.
Although, didn't they
It's a good 170 minutes, though. There's very few points in the movie that I'd go, that could go.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That doesn't serve some purpose of moving the story forward. Yet there's a lot of character building. They spend a lot of time establishing the characters, that these are a tight-knit group of people who work together all the time. When the soldiers come in, they're obviously fairly tight-knit, although I don't buy their behavior.
They were not a very good example of Navy SEALs.
But in 1989, we didn't know that. In 1989, Navy SEALs were scary people that we never heard of or saw. So
the main SEAL character, he actually is typecast into the role of the Navy SEAL commander in that era. He's done a couple of movies.
Aliens.
The Rock. Was he in The Rock? Yes, he was the Special Forces commander in The Rock, I believe.
I was going to say, I liked that despite how military people are treated in these kinds of films, as in with an extraordinary amount of distrust, there's that one Navy SEAL monk who's like, no, guys, seriously, would you just pay attention? He's flipping out. You can't do this. And there was the leader, the lieutenant, who flipped out, and then his sidekick who did whatever the lieutenant said, and then there was the guy with the broken leg who was like, nope, this isn't right. Nope. I liked him. Even though it probably wasn't all that accurate, as you guys were saying, but still. I liked that not all of the military jarheads were military jarheads.
And cut.
On that note.
There was one other little detail about the movie that I have a positive and negative reaction to. The positive reaction was early in the movie, the scene with his ring, where he has a fight with his almost ex-wife.
Soon to be ex-wife.
Yeah, and then he throws his ring into the toilet, stops, walks away, it's like, shit, goes back and tries to get it. Which is important later on for the ring scene that I didn't like, where he sticks his hand in the door as it's closing, and the door shuts on the ring, and the ring is enough to block the submarine caliber door from closing.
It's symbolic.
It's great symbolism.
It's the power of love saving his life.
Zero engineering.
Maybe it was a super high-tech titanium thing.
You know, admittedly, they did make it like a bulky ass, like engineer-looking ring, but it doesn't matter. The door's closing. If he couldn't hold it open with all of his strength, that like 2 millimeters of metal is not going to block that.
Maybe it was adamantium.
Maybe. Real men have adamantium wedding rings.
I'm reaching.
No.
It's a movie.
You know what? I don't care.
It's a plot device.
X-Men reference for the win.
True that.
That was awesome. Yeah, see, that didn't bother me so much. I did find it kind of implausible, but I appreciated the symbolism too much for that to be
If we're going
a
for
real issue.
implausible, everyone in the movie should have died several times.
Oh, gosh,
So-
yes. Yeah.
Wait, our weekly pet discussion. There was no dog, no cat this time. There was a mouse.
There was a rat. Yeah,
It was
the
rat
rat.
and a plant.
And
A plastic plant.
a plastic plant, which they almost threw at
But
the...
that rat actually did breathe that liquid.
Yes,
It
and
actually did that.
it did, and also had an awful panic attack while doing it. There were 5 rats on the shoot. One James Cameron kept as a pet, I believe.
You believe?
I think that, yeah. If I remember rightly, that's what it said
You
in the
believe
trivia.
because you read it on the internet or because
Yes.
you picked up and called him?
Yeah, James Cameron and I were like this. It said on the trivia that there were 5 rats that were used for filming. One of them was kept as a pet by James Cameron, and yes, one was actually put... Because the technology in this film all actually exists. The breathing the liquid exists as a technology.
Hasn't been tried on humans, though.
No, probably not. Something stopped.
It'd be hard to.
I'll do it.
Is that you or me?
I think that's you.
Oh, okay.
Ha, you're out of shot. I'm sorry, you're only in the Y.
It's been a day of ridiculous technical difficulties.
So in the end, did the rat live?
Yes.
Yes, the rat did live.
Yes.
Okay.
And in fact, all the rats lived on set.
Actually, we don't know that. We didn't see them at the end of the film.
Well, there was a rumor that one of the rats drowned while filming.
Oh, you meant
apparently,
actually?
Oh, but
I thought
actually.
in the movie.
Yeah, that's true. We don't see him at the end.
Yeah, well.
I'm going to
call him
assume... Yeah. Going to assume the rat lived.
This is what we get hung up on.
Because it...
Rats.
Yeah. Rats are awesome.
Of course they are. My wife actually had a pet rat for a while,
Oh, yeah?
I think.
I had one.
I think it was a rat. It might have been a ferret.
No,
I called it Sauron.
Sauron, nice.
there were pet ferrets in her previous life, so. Anyway. It was a good movie. Watch it.
Okay, I
And
think
that's a rock.
I think that means we should go for stars out of 5. I'll start with you this time, Rob.
Let's see. I don't know. They did do underwater bumper cars, so that was pretty good. You know what? I'd give it a 4. I enjoyed it enough for a 4. Yeah.
I'd give it a solid 4.
Yeah, we're all in agreement again. I would give it a 4 too. It was really enjoyable. There are some super corny bits, but it was...
What's the corniest bit?
No, well that, and I think the kiss at the end, those things always make me roll my eyes, though. I think I'm a broken person, because every time I see that, I'm like, oh, for God's sake.
Whereas I'm like, when in doubt, kiss more.
Yeah.
All of that stuff's been off camera.
On camera, off camera.
Ah, no.
Exactly. No.
So yeah, 4 stars. All right, new person, you get to pick the next movie.
Akira.
No.
Oh. But this is non-random.
But if it's Armageddon, you get to pick again.
The Craw.
The what?
It says The Craw.
The Crow.
The Crow.
Yay,
from
The
1994,
Crow.
A fantastically dark film.
So I'm going to love it. Actually, I do love
With
it.
a
You have not
kick-ass
seen
soundtrack.
it?
Of course I've seen it.
Kick-ass soundtrack.
Yes. All right.
Yes.
So next time we will be reviewing The Crow. We are taking a break for Easter, so we won't be around next week. But the
Are
week
you religious?
No, but my family is.
Oh, okay.
My
Good save. Good save.
The week after that, we'll be discussing A Wrinkle in Time. So do stick around for that. If you'd like to join in the conversation, leave us a comment in the comment bits down below this video. Tweet us, #NATRT. If you want to suggest a film or a book, same things again, but make sure that you include the author for the book and the year for the film with the #NATRT for film, NATRT film for film, or NATRT for book. And I think I covered everything as awkwardly as possible, so bye!
Bye.
Can you stop now? Please.